Next, I want to demonstrate to you how the message box function works. And I'm sure you've probably seen them or used them frequently. So the message box function is going to display a message box with a specified message and by default an OK button. Now this is one that I customized, so it has a yes and a no button. It's also not a standard message box, it's a question message box, and you can see that by the blue question mark on the left of the prompt. Also, I've changed the title from the default of Microsoft Excel to Ready. Alright, so let me switch over to Visual Basic and I'll talk about the syntax and how I created this message box. So the syntax for a message box is as follows. You've got the MSG BOX keyword, and you've seen me use that a couple of times already throughout the course. And then you can have a prompt, and that's going to be the question that you're going to be asking, or rather the text that's inside of that message box. And you have a limit of around a little bit over 1,000 characters, 1,024 characters that's going to fit in the prompt box. But that really depends on the width of the character. You can fit more I's than M's in a message box. Next, you have the buttons that you're going to use, what title you want if you don't want the default title again of Microsoft Excel, a help file, and then the contacts associated with that help file. Alright, so let me show you the message box that I created. I'm going to first go ahead and get rid of the syntax. And my message box was message box, and then the prompt, are you ready to learn about message boxes, comma, and then the buttons. Well, it's not only the buttons, but it's actually the buttons plus the type of message box that you want. So since I wanted yes, no buttons, I chose VB yes, no. And since I wanted a question box, I typed in plus VB question. Now, you really don't have to worry about knowing exactly which buttons there are or memorizing them, because after you type in your prompt, and as soon as you type in a comma, you'll see there's a drop-down list that appears, showing you the different types of boxes. For instance, there's critical, and if I scroll down, the different types of buttons as well, like there's my yes, no. There's okay, okay only. There's a lot of them in here. So again, I'll put in my VB yes, no. And maybe this time I want it to be critical. So I'll type in plus VB critical. And here's the thing about using buttons when you're using VBA. When you click on a button in a message box with a label of yes or no or cancel, the message box actually returns an integer. So when you click on the button for yes, it returns the number 6. And when you click on the button for no, it's going to return the number 7 back to your code. Now, I've attached a PDF to the resources section for this lecture. So you can also find out what number retry is or cancel. So make sure you take a look at that. All right, I'm going to go ahead and type in a comma and then put in my title. And my title was ready. All right, so I'll go ahead and test this one more time by hitting my function 5. And you see it looks almost the same, except for instead of having a question message box like I did last time, now it's critical. So with message boxes, you definitely need your prompt. You can optionally choose which buttons you want, but if you don't, it'll just be an OK button. And then you also have the option of putting in a title and a help file and the context for that help file. And then when a user comes in and chooses, in this case, yes or no, you can then have your code execute based off of their choice. So if they choose no, maybe you want to close this worksheet. If they choose yes, maybe you want another message box to pop up with a list of instructions, or maybe you want to have a different worksheet pop up. It's up to you. But message boxes are there to provide information for the user, and then you can also use them with decision statements to execute further code.